Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today is the 9th of October. This is the second update for today. We're looking at the situation between Israel and Lebanon on the border. We're going to start off with what happened in the morning, and then we'll go to what happened over the past 2 hours. So really, the situation on the border started heating up today in the morning when there was a red alert reported for the residents in several localities in northern Israel, not in the Golan Heights, but in an area just to the west of the Golan Heights in 3 different localities that I have mentioned over here in my tweet. They received this red alert report, which is received whenever there is a rocket or a mortar fired at one of these towns. Now, the Israeli media at the time was reporting that there were 12 rockets that were fired from southern Lebanon in this direction, and that 11 were intercepted by the Iron Dome, and that one of them fell into an open field. I can't confirm if this is true because I've seen reports from the Lebanese side that deny that there was any sort of rocket fire, and there's always a chance with these red alerts that there are inaccuracies and false alarms. That's happened previously in the war. It happened yesterday, I believe, and it happens in basically every single war between Israel and Gaza. There's always like a false alarm that comes from Lebanon. Now, over an hour ago, we received reports from the IDF and from Israeli media that there were 4 to 5 infiltrators that were able to cross over the border from southern Lebanon into northern Israel, generally in the Adamit area. That's generally where this occurred. There's not a specific geolocation. And there were shelter-in-place orders given to the residents of these localities in 5 different areas. These 5 different markers show the localities that were mentioned. And what's being reported from the Israeli side, which again, I have no way of verifying myself, is that all of those 4 to 5 infiltrators, 2 were killed in firefights, and then 1 was able to cross back into Lebanon, and that another one is still at large. So here we have the footage that was recorded by a local in the area where it happened. You can't actually see any of the people involved, but you could hear in the background, I'm not playing it, but you could hear in the background that there is a lot of live ammunition going off. So yeah, here you could see the towns where it was going on as well. Now, the reason why I'm just saying infiltrators and not giving a specific name of an organization behind it is because Hezbollah, they actually denied any claim that they were responsible for the infiltration. So obviously, we're going to have to wait for more info about who is really behind it, but it could have been a Palestinian faction in southern Lebanon, because we know that in the past, they have been responsible for a lot of the rocket attacks that have landed in northern Israel. In other instances of clashes in Gaza, that's happened a lot at the same time. And a lot of the time, it's considered Hezbollah, but then it ends up being those Palestinian factions. Now, Channel 12, they also report that 3 IDF soldiers were moderately injured in firefights. And this is a more recent report, and it appears to be a report that came after another attempted infiltration by people from southern Lebanon into northern Israel. So there's still continued clashes along the border in that region. Now, in response to that initial infiltration that we were talking about in that area over here that I have circled in red on my map, there was a combined response by Israeli artillery, helicopters, aircraft. They responded with fire towards Hezbollah and their assets in southern Lebanon. There are reports that there was airstrikes specifically in this town over here, Marwahin. So Marwahin on the map that I have marked over here is located here. And then there were also reports of shelling in several other localities on the border between Israel and Lebanon. So these shelling incidents occurred in southern Lebanon in villages such as Daira, Bustane, Zalutiye. And what we're hearing from Israeli sources is that they claim to have destroyed 3 Hezbollah observation posts. And again, this most likely was around the outskirts of Marwahim. There's no footage of the destruction of the observation posts as of the recording of this video. Maybe something happened since then, but here's a video of the strikes that occurred in that region. And then lastly, here we have just a photo that was taken of the traffic. This is from an Israeli civilian. These are Israeli civilians that are trying to leave their homes, most likely in the border villages and towns that are adjacent to the border with Lebanon. Now, I don't want to discuss the implications of this just yet because we're going to have to wait and see, first of all, if there's a response from Hezbollah, and then if there is a certain response, and also we're going to have to see the extent of the damage, whether there really was any destruction to Hezbollah assets. Once we get all that information and the dust settles, I'll definitely make a video with a follow-up on all of that. But just to quickly inform you guys of what's going on elsewhere in the conflict, you have reports from the past like 30 minutes of a large amount of rockets from Gaza heading in the direction of Jerusalem. There's actually some impacts in Jerusalem itself in that region. And then also earlier today, there was a pretty large barrage of rockets. I believe it was about 120 fired in the direction of Ashkelon, and then also a bit further north in central Israel as well at some of these cities over here. But yeah, that's all for now. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.